Number 2 reads, a volleyball spike so that it has an initial velocity of 12 meters per second directed downwards at an angle of 45 degrees below the horizontal. What is the horizontal component of the ball's velocity when the opposing player fields the ball? This is laying the groundwork for our next unit where we're going to look at projectile motion. Okay, so again, this is all in step 1 about drawing the picture. Here we got a volleyball, okay, and it's being hit downwards at an angle of 45 degrees from the horizontal, so this is 45 degrees, with an initial speed of 12 meters per second. Okay. Question is, what is the horizontal component of the ball's velocity? Okay. So the trick is to realize that when you hit a volleyball and you spike it down and at an angle, you're really doing two things. You're hitting it down in the y direction, and then you're hitting it across the court in the horizontal direction. This is a right triangle. Right here, this is a right angle. And our hypotenuse was given as 12, and all we're going to do is we're going to find the velocity in the x direction. That's horizontally. Okay? Okay, if we know this angle is 45 degrees, which trig function can we use to find this opposite side compared to the hypotenuse? Okay? Careful. Sine. In this case, 45 doesn't matter, but we want to use the right trig function. If it's the opposite side of 45 degrees, the sine of 45 degrees is equal to the opposite side, velocity x, over the hypotenuse, 12. Therefore, velocity x is just simply equal to 12 times the sine of 45 degrees. Okay? So if I get out my calculator, make sure you're not in radians, but what? In degrees. Okay? Common mistake if you're taking trig is to leave your calculator in radians. So make sure, for my class, you're in degrees, switch back to radians when you go back to trig. Okay? If I take 12 times the sine of 45, some of you guys have that memorized. You guys know what the sine of 45 is? It's like 0.7 something, right? 707, whatever. Okay? It's like 8.485. Let's keep a couple sig figs. So 8.49 meters per second. Okay? So in other words, when you're hitting the volleyball at 12 meters per second, 45 degrees downwards, you're really hitting it 8.49 meters per second horizontally, and you're also hitting it negative 8.49 meters per second in the downward direction. Okay? So not a hard problem. Again, it's just about drawing your picture accurately and identifying which trig function to use for your right angle trigonometry. In a nutshell, it's number 2, piece of cake.